tools which are obviously pretty famous in the market, like Selenium, UFT, etc. Okay, these are functional automation testing tools. Okay, so whatever the functionality you have, if you want to automate them, you use these tools. Okay, Selenium, UFT, etc. But when it comes to the non-functional testing, when it comes to the non-functional testing, this will primarily focus on some of the other aspects like performance, security, usability, etc. Okay, so the performance testing is part of the non-functional testing. Okay, so the tools that we use here is LoadRunner, JMeter, Gatling, so many are there. Okay, so these are the most widely used tools in the market. Okay, now for the same application, if you want to try and understand this term, or if you want to try and understand this term specifically, okay, with this example, so let's say the same login functionality, if I want to verify for performance. So basically what you do, you launch the application, you enter some valid username and password and log in. So the important thing here for a performance tester is once you enter username and password and click on submit button, how fast the user is able to navigate from one page to another page, or how fast this home page loaded. Okay, so this entire page, how much time it has taken, okay, to load, or how much time it has taken for the user to log in. So the timing is important. The time is important. How much time it has taken for the page to load is very, very important with respect to performance testing. Okay, so performance testers primarily focus on the speed. Okay, how fast the user is, I mean, how fast the user is able to navigate from one page to another page. Okay, so that is a primary aspect for the performance tester. Okay, now this is from an application point of view. A small generic a small example. Let's take one more generic example. So let's say you have like you are in a shopping mall. Okay, let's say that there is a mall and you are on the ground floor. Now you want to go to third floor. What would you do generally? You look for an escalator or lift, what you call lift, and some places you call escalator, some places you call lift, right? So you go to the escalator or lift, and you go inside the lift or escalator, and then press 3 button, right? And then you will go to third floor. And if I want you to test that escalator or lift functionality, then what would you do? You, as usual, you go inside the lift, press 3 button, and make sure that it is going to the third floor only. Okay, that means whatever the button you press, it should go to that particular floor, right? That is that is nothing but testing the functionality, whether is it going to the right floor or not. If you click 4, is it going to fourth floor or not, is what you have to verify. That means you are verifying the functionality, the functional aspect of it. Okay, now when it comes to the performance, what would you do? So the thing is, when it comes to performance, okay, you go inside the lift or escalator, and then you press 4 or 3 button, and then you see how much time it is taking to go to third floor or fourth floor. How much time it is taking to go to third floor or fourth floor is what you have to verify, isn't it? That's the performance, right? It's not only that you are going to third floor, but within how much time you are reaching third floor is also important, right? So one more important point with respect to the same example is how many people or how many people can max be accommodated in the lift or an escalator. Like there will be a text written over there, right? Like max 10 people or max 8 people or something like that. So not only when a single person is there on the lift, but at the same time we also try and test the lift capacity as well. That means um, like when max people are on the lift, okay, when max people are on the lift, and then you press 3 button, then how much time it is taking to go to third floor is also important. from performance testing point of view. Okay, so all in all, functional testing will primarily focus on the functionality, whereas the non-functional testing, especially the performance, will focus on the speed aspect, the performance aspect of the application. Okay, so the tools that we primarily use for performance testing is LoadRunner and JMeter. I mean, we have other tools also like NeoLoad, Gatling, etc. But these two are the most widely used tools in the market. Okay, so so hope you understood the major difference between the functional testing and non-functional testing. Okay, so as a performance tester, our primary focus will be on the speed aspect, like how much time it is taking for the page to load, how much time it is taking for a user to uh, navigate from one page to another page is high priority for us. Okay, I'm not saying that we will not. I mean, I'm not saying that the functionality is not at all important. It is important, but then by the time we test the application for performance, mostly the functionality might have been already tested. That means this will come first. I mean, this will be tested first. If this is working, then only it is, I mean, it is good to test for performance. If this itself is not working, there is no point in running this test also, right? If the functionality itself is not working, how can you test the application for performance? Not possible, right? So that's the reason. Of course both are important, but because we focus more on performance, this is more important for us. Okay, so this is about the performance testing at a very high level. We will discuss in detail again in our upcoming sessions. And one more thing, if someone is asking you why a performance testing is important, okay, if someone is asking you, or you have a doubt like why performance testing is important, how important is performance testing in the IT world? Look, it's very, very important. Without performance testing, um, there will be, I mean, if performance testing is not done, there are high chances that it can impact the organization's revenue directly. Okay, how? See, for example, I'm just quoting one example. There are a lot of examples like that, but I'm just taking one example. If you remember in 2013 or 2014, uh, I think that was the first time when one of the e-commerce application announced a big sale. I don't remember exactly. It's a big sale or a festival sale, something like that. So that was the first time they announced it. They started that. So, for example, I think in 2013 and 14, I guess, yeah. So they started a big sale around say let's say 12 p.m. or so. What happened on that day? The number of users accessing that e-commerce application was almost, like, so many times more than the normal user pattern. Okay, so what happened? Suddenly the application didn't respond. The application crashed because more number of users tried to access the application, because assuming that they had some good offers or something like that, because that was a big sale, right? So what happened? It impacted the application. Okay, why? Because more number of people access the application than the normal days. Okay, so what happened? The application didn't respond, or the application crashed. So obviously it will directly impact the revenue, right? So that's the importance of performance testing. So without performance testing, any important application, any application in fact, should not go to live. That means should not be deployed for the real users to test. Okay, so if performance testing is not done, and and then if it is deployed to production for the real users to use, there is a very high chance that it can have some existing performance issues which we didn't look into, and then it will come up in the real time, and then it will have an impact on the business. Okay, so here you see, if performance testing is not done, applications might face problems like slowness, the pages loading forever, inconsistency, and may further result in business loss. Okay, just imagine you are trying to access some bank account. Okay, let's assume that the bank account is very, very slow. Like, you're not able to transfer amount, you're not able to pay credit card bill, you're not able to download statement or anything. Imagine the amount of loss that the bank would incur, right? Right. So similarly, same thing, like you can take any example. Like let's say you are using any food delivery application. Okay, imagine that you are not able to order food, or there is some lag in the application, you are not able to make payment. Like that, if you have those sort of performance issues, it will directly impact the revenue. Because what happens once the user is not interested anymore, the user will switch to some other application. So yeah, that, let's say there is some email account for you. Okay, you are trying to attach some documents and send an email. The process is very slow, it is not able to attach documents at all on time. Okay, so you will see for the first time, you will see second time, you will see third time, you will see. And then what will happen one day, you'll get fed up and you'll switch to some other application and start using emails, sending emails from that application. Okay, similarly gaming also. If you're playing any games, and if the game is stuck somewhere, or it's freezing, it's not responding, reason could be anything, but if there is some performance issue, the user will not be having any further interest if it is continuously occurring. Okay, and then that there is a high chance that the user will switch to uh, any other application similar to that gaming functionality, right? So that's the reason applications having performance issues might directly result in a business loss as well. That's the reason performance testing is very, very important. Okay, and also I mentioned the first point here. The goal of performance testing is to find performance bottlenecks rather than finding functional bugs. So this is done by a separate team. Okay, so this functional testing is done by a separate team, what we call as manual testing or functional testing team. Okay, and our primary focus will be on this to identify the performance issues. Okay, sometimes in some projects you have to do both this and this. It depends, very rarely, but depends. But nowadays it's more like, performance testing is a separate team, like working with different set of applications, okay, within the organization. Okay, so that's what performance testing is all about. I can take a 30-second pause and take your questions. If you have any questions, I hope you understood like what is the basic difference between a functional testing and a non-functional testing, especially the performance testing. Okay, so any questions? If you have any questions, you can ping in the chat, or you can just make a note of it. You can ask me right away, but then I'm okay if you ping in the chat as well. Okay, now with respect to performance testing only, we have multiple tools in the market, right? Like LoadRunner, JMeter, okay, Gatling, NeoLoad, and so on. Okay, every tool has its own advantages and disadvantages, obviously. But as I said, LoadRunner and JMeter are the most widely used tools in the market. Okay, now uh, if anyone has any doubts with respect to LoadRunner versus JMeter, I can answer at the end in the Q&A session. But because this course is primarily about LoadRunner, let's try to understand the LoadRunner architecture first. If you have any questions with respect to the tools like LoadRunner and JMeter, if you want some comparison or what, we can discuss at the end. Okay, so let's focus on LoadRunner architecture first. Okay, so to explain the LoadRunner architecture, okay, okay, so hope you guys are able to see the screen. One second. Yeah. So 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 this load runner architecture, I would like to derive by uh, starting with some questions. Okay. Uh, so let's say, okay, one second. So let's say we have an application. Okay. Let's take any banking application. For example, any banking application or banking website. Now, if I ask you to do a performance testing for the banking application, what would, like, let's say with 500 users or 200 users, right? So because performance testing is all about testing with more number of users, right? Like I said previously, I said with when I took the example of an escalator or the lift, I already told you that in the lift there they will mention like max 8 people, max 6 people, something like that. So obviously the testing would have been done, the performance testing would have been done with max people on board, right? So when max people on board, then how the lift or escalator is responding? Is it going to third floor on time, or is it stucking somewhere? Okay, that's what they generally test. Similarly, in software application perspective, if I ask you to test a banking application, let's say with 500 users, what will you do? How will you test a bank application with 500 users? Okay, that means at the same time all the 500 users should be performing some action on the bank application, right? Like some might transfer money, some might download statement, some might pay credit card bill, right? Different users perform different actions, but all the 500 users will be active on that banking application website. Okay, now if I ask you to test the same thing, how would you start with? Will you bring 500 people and give them 500 laptops and ask them to log in to bank application and perform different actions like paying credit card bill, transferring money, and so on? Will you do that? Is it possible, by the way?
No, in this situation, we will create virtual users to test the application.
So, yep. So, the thing is, see, let's say, imagine you can bring, okay, let's say, imagine you can bring 500 people, give them 500 laptops, and ask them to log in, and then, you know, perform some different actions, and you can monitor the performance. Okay. But what if I ask you to test with 5,000 users? 500 users, that's fine. Okay. Worst case, you tried your best. But what if I ask you to test with 5,000 users? You cannot bring 5,000 users and give them laptops and all that stuff, right? It's not possible. That's the reason in the load runner architecture, you have a component called load generator. Okay. So this component is primarily responsible for generating virtual users or simulating virtual users. Okay. So these virtual users mimic the same behavior as a normal user do. Okay, if a normal user is transferring money or paying a credit card bill, that's fine. The virtual user will also do the same thing. Okay, how and all that is different, but the virtual user has the capability to mimic the human actions, like clicking a link, clicking a button, okay, selecting a value from a drop down list, and so on. Okay, so the load generator is a component. Basically, these are highly configured machines. These load generators are some highly configured machines which are used to generate or simulate virtual users for us. Okay. Now, if I want to test with 4,000 users, yes, I can generate or simulate 4,000 users. If I want to test with 3,000 users, yes, I can. If I want to test with 10,000 users, yes, I can. But maybe instead of one load generator, I might use two load generator machines. Okay, so that's the difference, because even though load generator is capable of simulating users, but it also has some limit, right? Because of its configuration, because of its RAM, CPU, and all that stuff, it has its limitations. It can max support some x number of users. So beyond that, if you want to test, you need to add one more load generator, like that. So you can increase the number of load generators depending on the requirement. Okay, so, but the basic concept is load generator is primarily responsible for simulating or generating virtual users. Okay. Now, let's say you have virtual users. Let's say you have virtual users. Now, if you want to test the banking application, what are the primary scenarios? Let's tell any one scenario, one important scenario for a bank application. Is it transfer money? Can I take transfer money as one of the important scenario, important functionality for which the performance testing is mandatory, right? So for performing or executing this functionality, what are the steps to reproduce? Anyone? So you say launch bank application. These are the steps to reproduce, right? Okay. Launch application. Then you log into the application. You log into the application. Okay. And then uh, you select the beneficiary. Select the beneficiary. Then you enter amount and let's say click transfer. Okay. And then you log out. These are the steps to reproduce for the transfer money. Now, if I want to test the performance for this functionality, these are the steps I need to execute. Okay. Now, how will the users or the virtual users, which I simulated using load generator, how will those users execute these steps? So there should be some component which should generate a script for us, okay, for the required functionality. That component should be able to assist us in generating a script so that the users can run it. Okay, so that component which is primarily responsible for developing or recording or generating the scripts for that required functionality is called Vusion. Okay, Vusion is a component which is used to record or generate, okay, the script for the required functionality so that the users, the virtual users can reuse it. Okay, so the virtual users can run that particular script n number of times. Okay, so that is called Vusion. Now you have virtual users ready. Now you have the script, you have script ready. Then what is the next step? You have to execute those scripts. Okay, you have to execute those scripts with the help of these virtual users generated by load generator. So for that, uh, there is a component called controller or performance center. Okay, so whatever the scripts that we develop here, we upload it into controller. Okay, so whatever the scripts that we develop in Vusion, we upload it into controller or performance center, and then we can trigger the execution. Okay, we can trigger the execution, and then once the execution is completed, okay, the result, you need to analyze the result, right? So to analyze the result, you have another component called analysis. So this component is primarily responsible for analyzing the detailed results. So this analysis component is very important. Again, it will give us detailed analysis of the test that you have executed, including various graphs, okay, and various metrics. Okay, so all in all, these are the different components at a very high level: load generator, Vusion, controller or performance center, and analysis. Okay, there is something called agent process, which will act as a bridge between controller and load generator. We will discuss that in the upcoming session. I'll explain you in detail again. Okay, so all in all, these are the components, guys. Load generator, Vusion, controller or performance center, analysis. Any questions here? Load runner architecture.
Sir, do we need coding language
Yes.
for this?
Yes, correct. A good question. I will, yes, it is required, but I will elaborate the answer in some time from now. Okay. So at the end, like when we discuss question and answers, right? I will
Mhm.
definitely elaborate the answer for you. Yeah, I'll give you the answer. But yes, it
Okay.
is, in short, yes, it is required.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Proceed.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
See, let's suppose you said, right, by using the virtual user generator, we will create the
I'm
script.
sorry. Could you please be a bit louder? I'm not able to hear you.
Am I audible,
Let me
Kaushik?
check if my volume is increased. Yeah.
Am I audible now?
Mm, yeah, go ahead. I think so. Yeah.
Right. Now, as you said, right, so by using the virtual user generator, we will create the script. And on top of that, we will sending all the uh, users by using the load generator, right?
Correct.
Right. Now, let's suppose I have an application, I have a different modules in application. Now, let's suppose using the virtual user generator, I created all the scripts that I want to keep the or sending the user different users to the different modules. Okay. So in
Yeah.
that case, how load generator will manage all these users for the different modules of the different scripts?
That we will take care in the controller and performance center. So you will have different modules or different sections or different functionalities. So for which module, how many users you want to use for testing, you can control that or you can define that in the controller and performance center when you create a load test scenario. See, when you once you once you develop the script, you upload the script into controller and performance center. There we actually create a scenario, what type of test you want to execute, what type of test you want to configure, with how many users you want to run, okay, how many load generators you want it, I mean, okay, and then for how long you want to run, you want to run for 1 hour or you want to run for 3 hours, right? So all that configuration we will do in the controller or performance center. That is possible.
So basically, you are saying that the controller is a bridge between your virtual user generator and the load generator.
No, 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 no. Agent process, there is some other component called agent process which acts as a bridge between controller and load generator. So if you go to the diagram again, okay, so if you see this diagram, so what will happen, here we develop the scripts and then those scripts we will upload here, okay, and here what will happen, we will configure a scenario, we will create a scenario here, what type of test you want to run. Let's say for transfer money scenario, for transfer money scenario I want to run with 30 users or let's say 300 users, okay, or let's say download statement is there, for download statement I want to run with 500 users, okay, or let's say pay credit card bill, so paying credit card bill, let's say I want to run with 1000 users. So for each of those functionalities, I can configure a different set of users here in the controller and performance center, and then I can trigger execution. So once I trigger execution, what will happen? This controller will send all the scripts to this load generator machine with the help of uh, something called agent process. Okay, with the help of agent process, and the actual execution happens here. Okay, so when once you upload all the files, we create a scenario, whole scenario here, and then trigger execution. Then from here, all the scripts and files will be uploaded to load generator machine, and the actual execution happens here because the users are getting generated here, right? Because the users are
Right.
getting generated here, right? That's the reason.
Right.
Okay, so this is a process, and whatever the requirement you told is very much possible in the controller itself. I mean, you can configure here.
Okay. Now,
Okay, so I'll show you practically in our upcoming sessions. I'll for sure.
the final question is, let's suppose now you are saying that, right, different modules based on the load generator, we can generate the load and we can test it. But generally in a real time, right, uh, up to what capacity the load generator will uh, take it at? Basically, how many users it can load it?
It depends. It depends on the script that you are using. It depends on various factors like the protocol that we are using, the load generator capacity like RAM, CPU, and all that stuff. Okay, so you have to do some initial small POC with one user or very limited number of users to see how much it can support. So based on that, you can decide what are the max number of users a particular single load generator machine can manage. So you have to do a small POC on that, like when before you start the actual load test, based on the load generator machine configuration and based on the script that you have, based on the protocol that you select. Okay, so the number of users will vary. So we will discuss that in our upcoming sessions.
Final question, Krushik. Now let's suppose, as I said, right, assume that I have a withdrawal is a one functionality and the cancellation assume that it's a one functionality. Now my controller can tell to load generator, hey, you uh, cancellation go to this system or withdrawal go to this system.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. So controller we can manage like which script should run on which script should run on which load generator machine we can manage.
Okay, so by
So let's
any
say you
chance, for multiple generators, you will have a only one controller or different controllers.
we will have mostly one controller only. From there, because it's just creating a scenario and triggering the execution, right? So the load generators will be multiple. So if you want the withdrawal scenario to go to load generator one, withdraw and transfer money scenario to go to load generator two, that is pretty much possible. Yeah, you can do that. Generally it's our wish, like how we want to run, but it all depends on the client requirement, like what is the exact requirement of that application, with how many users we want to test, and all that inputs we need to take from the application team, and based on that we can create a scenario later. Okay.
Thanks, Vipin.
Yeah, so let's move to the next. I mean, if anyone has any other questions, please just make a note of it, or you can ping in the chat window, we can discuss in some time from now. Okay, so let's go to the third point. We still have we still have only 20 minutes. Okay, so let's go to the third point quickly. So this is all about recording a simple script and replaying the script so that you will get familiar with how the script would look like in the load runner. Okay, and how are we recording it, and what is the process. So if I want to implement this step, or if I want to work on this, which component I need to work with, or what is the component that I need to work with?
Eugen.
Um, Vugen, obviously Vugen, right? So um, once you install LoadRunner in your machine, Vugen, I mean, there will be different components that will be automatically installed, like Vugen, controller, analysis, and so on. So you just need to type Vugen or search for Vugen. You'll get to see Vugen here. Or you'll have these icons on the desktop also, shortcuts mostly. After installation, you can see icons on desktop also. So you just click on this Vugen, search for Vugen, and just click on it. It will launch the Vugen component. Okay. So here, this is a default will come up once you launch Vugen. There are different menu options over here, but for today I'll just click on file and new script and solution, because I just want to create a new script, simple script. So here there are different protocols. Basically, you need to choose web HTTP HTML protocol here for the applications which are run on HTTP or HTTPS based. Okay, so let's say you are browsing something through the URL has like HTTP or HTTPS. This is a go-to protocol that you can use. Okay, so here you just give some name, script name. Let's say today's demo. So I'm just giving some name as demo, but we have to give some meaningful name, which we'll give in our upcoming session. For time being, simple demo. And let me change the folder where I want to save it. 1 second, sorry. Okay, here I can I'm creating a new folder for you guys. Okay, so I've created a new folder, and just the script name is demo, and the location where I'm saving the script is this, and the protocol that I selected is web HTTP HTML. Ignore the solution name and target for now, okay, because this is just a demo. Then click on create. Okay, so once you click on create, this is how the script would look like. Okay, the default script, basic script. Okay, nothing has been recorded as of now. So here, this is a code editor. This entire thing is a code editor where, I mean, once you generate the script, you will see the code here. Okay, the generated code. And these are this is a solution explorer where we have different options to work with. Like if you want to handle parameters, I mean, if you want to pass different test sets of test data, and you can use parameters, some runtime settings, some global. If you want to declare some global variables, you can declare. So there are different options. We'll see that here. For now, I'll quickly start recording the flow. The flow that I want to record is these steps. One second. Okay. Uh, we have seen some sample application, right? This is a sample application. So the steps that I'm going to record is launch of this application and login and logout. 3 steps. Okay. So launch, then login, then logout. These 3 steps I'm gonna record. Okay. These 3 steps I'm gonna record. Now, how to begin recording? There is some icon over here which you can click and it will begin the recording process. Or you can click on this record menu option. From there, you can initiate the recording as well. See here, record and record. Okay, record and record. Okay, so let me click on this icon, which is uh, a direct shortcut, right? So once you click on this record icon, you will get to see this particular pop-up window where you have to select multiple options. For time being, we'll just select the browser and the application that we want to record. Okay, so you can choose any browser. So I'm just selecting some Firefox, and whatever the application that you want to test, that application URL you have to give here. Okay, I can get it from here, or if it is already there, it will be here. You can paste it here, and then just click on start recording. There are other options which we'll see later in the later sessions, but for now just click on start recording. So once you click on start recording, the Mozilla Firefox browser will launch because we have chosen for Firefox browser, right? So Firefox browser will launch with the given URL. Okay, Firefox browser will launch with the given URL. See, I mean, the browser is launched, the URL is loading. See, the URL also loaded successfully. Okay, now if you see, there is some movable window over here. Okay, uh, and then you see some number over here which keeps on increasing. Uh, as and when you perform some action on the UI, this number keeps on increasing. Okay, when the number is increasing, it's actually a good sign. That means the tool is able to record successfully. I mean, the tool is able to interact with the application successfully. Okay, and then there are different options here like stop recording, pause recording, cancel recording, and then comment, and sort of different options. We'll see all these options later, but for now, let's focus on these two. Okay, so this is uh, insert start recording. This is insert end recording. Okay, so if I do a mouse over, it will show like insert start transaction. I mean, basically it's insert start transaction. This is insert end transaction. So why is this important? So for every action that you perform on the UI, okay, or in fact for every action that you perform, you need to start, and then you need to perform the action on the UI, and then you need to end, so that the tool will capture it as a separate transaction or a separate step. Okay, like what is the next action that I have to perform on the UI, guys? Now, what is the next action that I have to perform on the UI as of now?
Provide
Login.
username and password.
In short, login, right? So
Right, login.
here I can click on this insert start transaction and give a name to it called login and click OK. Now what happens? It, now this insert end transaction also enabled, but don't click it. So what you have to do, first you have to go and perform the action on the UI. So go and enter the username and password and click on login button. Okay, now the login is completed, login is done. Wait for few seconds so that the page will be loaded completely. Like wait for 4 or 5 seconds and also check here whether the page loaded successfully or not. And then click on this insert end transaction and then end the login here. Okay, then what is the next step? Next step is log off, let's say, because that's the one which I wanted to do. So log off or sign off, whatever it is. So I'm starting a new transaction. I'm inserting a start transaction for log off. Then click on sign off button on the UI, which will log out of the application. And then click on wait for few seconds so that it will load the page completely. And then click on this insert end transaction log off. Okay, so like this, once you record all the steps, you click on stop recording. Once you click on stop recording, it will generate the script. See, uh, okay, this is a recording report. Okay, and then if you go to action tab or action, you'll see the script that got generated here. See how many lines of code, approximately some 60-70 lines of code has been generated. Now, if you want to easily understand this particular code, uh, so if you see line number 33, it says LR underscore start underscore transaction login. Okay, line number 33. And then why this, why this piece of code generated? If you remember, there was a mobile window where I clicked on insert start transaction, right? So when I clicked on insert start transaction, because of that, this piece of code generated. Okay. And if you see line number 52, LR end transaction login. That means when I clicked on end transaction, insert end transaction, this piece of code generated. So in between, whatever you have, this piece of code is related to the login. That means when I entered username and password and clicked on login button, this piece of code generated. If you want to confirm, see the username and the password that I entered. Okay, so this request or this code belongs to login. And then if you see line number 56, there is a next transaction, that is LR start transaction called log off. And then in the line number 68, you see LR end transaction log off. In between, whatever the request you have, that belongs to log off. That means when I click on sign off button, this piece of code got generated. Okay, it is pretty straightforward to understand, right? So whatever the actions you perform while recording, based on those actions, the transactions have been generated, because you already clicked on insert start transaction, and then you perform some action, and then you clicked on insert end transaction, right? So that's the reason the actions that you performed are, you know, clearly, uh, separated. Like this is log off, then this is login. If you scroll up little bit, can anyone tell what is this request?
I guess it's a launch request.
It
Launching the
is
URL.
it is launching the URL. But if you see this URL, if you see this request, there is no LR start transaction or LR end transaction for launch. Why? The reason is, even before the movable window appeared, the application has been launched in the Firefox browser. Correct? So for example, I click on record icon again. See, when I clicked on start recording here, immediately this browser launched with this URL, right? Then only there was a mobile window where I could insert start transaction and insert end transaction and all that stuff. That's the reason for launch, I didn't see any LR start transaction or LR end transaction. However, you can add it manually like this. Like if you want, you can add it like this: LR underscore start underscore transaction. Okay, you can add like this. and you can give a name to it, like let's say launch, because whatever the action that we are performing, based on that only you have to give a meaningful name. So it is launch. Then after line number 31, obviously you write LR underscore end underscore transaction, everything in small letters. Should not use any uppercase letter. Okay, and give the same name, whatever the name you are giving here, the same name you have to give here also. Okay, if not, what will happen? I'll show you in the next upcoming session, like what is the error that we get. And then as per the syntax, you just need to write LR underscore auto, which I'll explain again. You see, this is launch, this is login, and you see log off. All three transactions are done. That's what we wanted to record, right? Ignore this. This is a different concept. Okay. So now your script is ready. See, launch, login, log off. Now, if I want to replay this and want to see like how the results are coming up, you can click on the replay button over here. Click on the replay button. It will run and it will give you the result report. Okay, see the script is passed. You have the entire log here. We can discuss this log later. Then you see here launch, login, log off, and all are the status is passed. And you see launch has taken 0.403 seconds. Login has taken 0.294 seconds. Log off has taken 0.216 seconds. Okay, so how much time it has taken for the application to launch? 0.4 seconds. For login, 0.2 seconds. For log off, 0.2 seconds again, approximately. Now this script we ran with how many users we ran this script?
Single
One
user.
user.
One user only. Did I mention anywhere 10 users, 20 users like that? No. In Vuegen, the max we can run is only one user. Okay, when you are developing the script here, the max that you can run is only with one user. Now once this script is done, customized, enhanced, once it is ready, then you can upload the same script to controller or performance center, and there you can configure the number of users that you want to run for this script. Okay, so like this you can develop the scripts easily. Okay, as a little customization or enhancement is required for some of the scripts, not all for all scripts, for some of the scripts. Okay, so I'll tell you what to learn. I know to master scripting with customization, what to learn, what is the process. I will explain you in some time. Any questions as of now? Did you understand like how
Uh,
to record a script?
Hi, Krishi. Can you go to that launch option where you initially configured, right? You have chosen HTTP and all, the initial
Uh,
screen.
oh, okay. That means when I clicked on a new script, you have seen a window like, uh, is,
Mm-hmm.
is this what you are
Yes,
No,
referring
no.
where
to?
you have
Oh,
given.
okay.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Right, right. Okay, there are lots of protocol here. So why are
Yeah.
you choosing web HTTP? Uh, uh, Anything else cannot be picked, or only this is by default we have to take for web applications?
Okay, so good question. Anyways, so yes, there are different set of protocols, but by default, for all web applications, okay, which run on HTTP or HTTPS. Okay, so if you go here and if I copy paste this URL, like if I let's say if I copy paste this URL somewhere, see here you have HTTP. So any application which has HTTP or HTTPS, you can go with this protocol. Okay, this is the default protocol which will work for all web applications. Okay, uh, so that's the reason I have chosen this for today. However, there are different other protocols as well, depending on their usage. Okay, so 90%, I mean, if I'm not wrong, like, or I can say like majority of the applications, or most of the applications are web based nowadays. Nothing is Windows. I mean, very few, I mean, are Windows based. I don't even see nowadays Windows applications. So if you see, because all our web applications, this is the most important protocol that we have to learn for every project. Okay, 90% of the projects, they use this protocol only. Okay,
Even
because
for
all are
mobile
web based.
testing also we use
Yeah,
this
you
only.
can. You can use, okay, you can use for mobile application. We can use, I mean, basically some people will use True Client Mobile, some people will use this, and some people will use some simulators and all. That's fine. You can use the same also. Okay, and also for web services also we can use the same. I mean, this will work for both UI and web services as well. If you want to explicitly use a different protocol for web services, you still have that, but you can test web services by using this as well. Okay, and then you have something like True Client. For we use it for a different purpose. I'll explain that also in this course. I'll have one session on True Client also anyways. So like, and we'll discuss on web services also anyways. So we will, I mean, if you are attending any interview, or if you want to begin with learning the tool, you can focus on at least 2 to 3 protocols, and the most widely used protocols are this and this and this web services. Okay, I mean, it depends. Rarely, if the project is core SAP based, okay, then they might use some different protocol like SAP GUI. But the base for all of that, if you want to learn this or whatever it is, the base for all those protocols are this only. Okay, for if you want to learn other protocols, you should always start with this protocol only. Okay, but this is a very important protocol. Okay, any questions?
Even for APIs also we will be using this, right?
Yeah, we can use same protocol for web, same protocol for APIs also, and we can use web services also. I will cover both of them. Like when we discuss web services, I will explain using web protocol. I will also explain using web services protocol.
All right, thank you.
Uh,
Okay,
Sir, I
and
have one question.
yeah, go ahead.
Which is more widely used, LoadRunner or JMeter? What's the difference in JMeter and LoadRunner?
Uh, See, there are different tools in the market, as I said earlier as well. The most widely used tools are LoadRunner and JMeter. LoadRunner is a licensed one. JMeter is open source. Okay, so LoadRunner is there in the market since ages, like so since so many years, like like even, I mean, that's the reason this is a benchmark tool in the market. Like it supports wide variety of protocols, and basically it supports more number of protocols than any other tool in the market. Okay, it is a licensed tool, and it licensed tool by OpenText. Okay, earlier it was I mean earlier it was from Micro Focus. I mean, most of you might have heard this name, Micro Focus. Before that, it was from HP. Okay, and actually, it actually originated from Mercury. So the origin of LoadRunner is from Mercury, and then HP took over it, and then Micro Focus took over it, and then recently it is called as OpenText LoadRunner. Okay, so now because it's a licensed tool, that the advantage for the organizations is they have complete support. Okay, so let's say your application is built on a new technology, completely new technology. Now when it comes to open source, you don't have any a support for the new technologies and all. So here you see that it supports so many protocols. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the OpenText vendor. They will assist you. But when it comes to the open source, it is quite not possible. You have to rely on social platforms only. Okay, and one more thing is, when it comes to LoadRunner, and because it's a licensed tool, the banking and financial institutions more, I mean, most of the banking and financial institutions prefer licensed tools, because they don't go for freeware or open source tools most of the times, because they prefer they give more uh, preference to the data security, their data securities, because those are banks, right? So the data is their prime importance. So that's the reason they go with the licensed tools. uh, I mean, I'm not saying JMeter is not used. JMeter is also used in the market. Equally important to LoadRunner. Both LoadRunner and JMeter are equally important. That's what I can say. So, but then when you
So
compare the
what?
functional device, the usage and all, LoadRunner is pretty easy to learn. I mean, easy to work with. Okay, JMeter is, I mean, based on my experience. So JMeter, like it needs little bit more effort to develop the scripts, to configure or whatever it is, because it's open source, right? Everything we need to get it from open source. But when it comes to LoadRunner, once your organization has license, just install it and work with it. That's it. No other dependencies, nothing. You can directly work with it end to end. Like develop scripts, users, virtual users, analysis, controller, whatever it is, execution part, everything will be managed automatically. But when it comes to open source, you need to follow a lot of steps, because it's open source. You need to work with different approaches to execute and all that stuff.
Sir, we can easily install LoadRunner, or we need a license or something like that. Means we need to
A
pay
trial version,
it.
no, trial version you can install on your own.
Okay, fine.
Okay.
So for
Yeah,
practice purpose, at least
we
we
can
need,
guide you.
no?
Yeah, yeah, we can guide you on that. Yeah.
Okay.
We will anyways, we will let you know on that in our upcoming sessions. Yeah.
Sir, actually, I'm a manual tester. I have 7 years of experience in manual testing. So
Hmm.
I want to upgrade myself, but I do not have that much. I'm not confident in writing code or like that. So is it performance testing with
Yeah.
LoadRunner is good for
Good.
manual testers like me?
Yeah. Very good question. Because yeah. So it is actually very very important for you. Okay. Because considering the market trend, I mean, functional testers or manual testers are asked to, enhance their skills. So the option that they have is either they have to go with automation or performance, basically, or like any ETL testing or anything like that. Like I'm saying, if you're importance, I mean, if you're interested, and if your organization, of course every organization has performance testing projects, but then if you're interested in learning performance testing, it's the right choice. Because uh, mm, only being a manual tester may or may not work in future for sure. Okay, I mean, you might already know it. I mean, all of us are seeing those changes
Correct, sir.
already.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
So it doesn't work like that anymore. So we need to have multiple skills for that. And how much coding is required? uh, Again, a very good question. So this 2 points here. This course is specifically designed for the I mean, designed for the participants to learn from basic to advanced. Okay. So whoever is coming from non-IT background or manual testing background, okay, it is pretty much good for them. They can equally learn with other participants. I can assure you on that. Okay. Because we will be discussing with the very basics of coding. And how much of coding is required? I'm not saying that we need to learn the complete coding, not required. Only a few concepts, like data types, variables, if conditions, for loops and functions. These things are enough. Okay. To develop any script in LoadRunner, these concepts are enough. Okay. I can 100% assure you on that. These concepts are more than enough to develop or enhance any script. Okay. And that's the reason, because every batch, all these years, every batch I have actually participants from non-IT background also. So for that's the reason, in this entire course we will be practicing scripting on multiple applications. I'm not just making you practice on only one application. So the scripting that we are going to practice, the whatever the basic code that we are going to learn, we will be practicing that code on multiple set of applications. Okay. Because the more number of applications you practice, the you generate the script or you enhance the script, the more easy for you when you onboard any project. Thing is, very important. See, execution of scripts anyone can do. I mean, I can give a 1 hour KT session to you. You can start executing also. Okay, execution is not that critical to learn. I mean, it is important, but it is not tough to learn. So when we compare execution versus script recording or enhancements, we should focus on script enhancement only. That's the reason. Like I'll be making you practice, or we will be scripting on multiple applications, like 4 to 5 applications we will work with in our entire course.
Okay, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
yeah. And yeah, any other questions? Let me check if I have any questions in the chat. Oh, sorry, Prasanna, I didn't see that. Screen was not clear to you. I'm sorry for that. uh, I hope it is clear now. If not, I request you to go through the recorded session for whatever the part you missed it. Okay. Any questions? Okay. And this course is like approximately like around 40 sessions. Okay. It depends from batch to batch also for me. Because sometimes I have like 38, 40 like that. Sometimes it will go to up to 42 also. Because what happens is in this course, oh, 1 second. Before I tell, let me go through the course content quickly, guys. Sorry for that. This is after this you might get more questions. Okay. So here you see this is a course content from basic to advanced. So where we discuss the architecture basics, introduction to performance testing life cycle, okay, and then LoadRunner installation and features, recording options, okay, and all that stuff. And then you learn the best scripting practices in Vusion, like how to enhance it, what are the best scripting practices, and we'll discuss something about runtime settings, very important. And then we discuss something about what are the different ways of recording the script. Okay, what if you're unable to record the script, what if the tool is not able to record the script, what are the other options we have, all these things we will cover here. And then this is checkpoints. Checkpoints also called as assertions, right? So we have 1 or 2 sessions on that. And here you see the enhancement, the code enhancements I told you, right? With respect to the script development. So these are the topics that we will be discussing. Okay, very basics. It's not even intermediate. It's only basic concepts. Okay, and then uh, some inbuilt functions which are used to enhance our script, and then some important concepts and some challenges in scripting, some interview questions with respect to how to read data from a file, how to write data into a file, and all that stuff. And one more important concepts which we will cover for 3 to 4 sessions is correlation. Okay, and then another 3 to 4 sessions on parameterization. Like if you want to pass different sets of test data, how to handle that, what type of data you can pass. Okay, what are the different types of data you can pass. And till here, all the scripting learning will be completed. Okay, and then you will see how to upload the script, create a scenario, different types of tests, load tests, like different types of performance tests like load testing, endurance testing, scalability testing, how to create those scenarios. Okay, and how do you monitor graphs and messages in controller. Okay, while execution, what do you monitor? Okay, how do you analyze the execution part? See the complete analysis with different reports, different graphs, different metrics, and all that stuff. And then mm, after executing, you have to send a detailed report to client, right? So we will be discussing how to draft an email to client with all the observations. Okay, there is a separate session for that. So generally you don't find it anywhere. So once you are done with the entire testing, so you have to tell client like how did the application, how did the performance testing go? Like, was it successful test, or is it a failed test, or what went right or what went wrong? What are your observations and concerns? So all those things, all those points we will mention here. And then we will discuss a couple of sessions on interview question and answers. And then I specifically mentioned here scripting practice on 5 applications. Okay. And then there is a separate concept called virtual table server. We'll discuss in one session. Okay. It is a kind of alternative to parameterization. So these are the different concepts that we are going to cover. Along with that, these are the bonus topics that we will be covering as part of the course. So fiddler and har file scripting, that means when you are unable to record the script through Fusion, so these options are available. And then we will also discuss a couple of sessions on the monitoring tools like AppDynamics and Dynatrace. Okay, so I'll tell you like what are the different metrics. I'll show you in the live session, like a practical session on what are the different metrics that we monitor using APM tools like AppDynamics and Dynatrace. Uh, Out of these two tools, one tool I might be taking a live session. One tool I will give you a recorded session because there is some configuration issue in my machine, which is blocking me to uh, use both the tools at the same time, because these two are kind of competitors, right? So I mean, I wanted to my participants to know more about APM tools, different APM tools. That's the reason I added these two tools. I mean, there are different tools in the market again, like AppDynamics, Dynatrace, New Relic, CAAPM, Datadog, and all. But out of all those tools, these two are most widely used. That's the reason I added these two, two sessions for these. So mostly I might give you a recorded session on AppDynamics and then a live session on Dynatrace. Okay, so very, very important for interview purpose. I mean, when you learn any tool, it's not just a tool. You need to learn these also for performance testing interviews. Okay, then I'll give you a brief introduction of what is the CI/CD Jenkins and how do you trigger a local scenario from Jenkins. Like if you have a local scenario in your laptop, how can you trigger it from Jenkins is what I can explain you on as a bonus session. And then we'll also discuss a true client protocol, and we'll also discuss what are heap dumps, what are thread dumps, how to analyze them. We will discuss these things, very, very important from interview point of view. Then we'll discuss what are load balancer algorithms, important from interview point of view. And then I'll give you a recorded session for these two also. These two are again bonus topics, so I will give you a recorded session for these two, like how do you connect to a LoadRunner, how do you connect to database through LoadRunner. There we use a Java user protocol, okay, a different protocol. So these two sessions I'll give you a recorded session for that. And then additional sessions will also be provided on the web services as well. Okay, I'll explain you in the live session also, this one, how to test REST services. But at the same time, I'll give you recorded sessions also. And one more thing, mm, yeah, and also, yeah, for now, these points, yeah, I'll tell you a couple of more points in our upcoming session. Yeah. Any questions?
Hey, sorry, I had a network issue. I just lost you in between. So you will be covering up this head dump, heap dump, right? Is what you
Uh,
showed before?
yeah, so I will tell you what are heap dumps and thread dumps and how to analyze those dumps. I mean, what are the important metrics from analysis point of view? Okay,
Okay.
I will, yeah. So these two I can explain. Yeah.
Okay, and as a
Isha,
part of APM tool, you will be covering AppDynamics.
Yeah. I mean, AppDynamics, I will give you a recorded session. Dynatrace, I will take a live session. So both sessions,
Okay.
both I will be covering. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Uh,
my concern is after completion of this course, how many years of experience we can show in the industry?
you can put up to 5 years of experience, 4 to 5 years of experience. You can update. Because see, when you, I mean, see from performance testing point of view, you can give. I mean, if you practice well, you can give what you can update whatever experience you want. But then when you add a more number of experience in your resume, they will focus more on performance engineering also. Okay, like let's say you say that I have around 10 years of experience in performance testing. They will focus on some of the advanced performance engineering concepts also. Like they might expect you to have some good amount of knowledge on core Java, at least a basic core Java, or they might expect you to have some in-depth analysis on how Java applications work, what is JVM architecture and all that stuff, how garbage collection mechanism works. There are different concepts, but then uh, for 4 to 5 years, I'm sure like these are enough.
Oh,
Okay, any questions? Okay, and this course, creating a JMeter, it is possible, Jashwant, but I can show you. I'll see whether that option is still available in the recent version of LoadRunner. I didn't check the recent version what I have, like running a JMeter script in LoadRunner, but that is possible actually. Okay, but that is rare, very rare. Generally it won't happen like that. Why will we run a JMeter script in LoadRunner? Very, I mean, nowadays it is outdated. This option is this option was used like long back. No, because JMeter has BlazeMeter support, right? So most of the JMeter scripts are being run on BlazeMeter. Okay, so LoadRunner it has its own scripts, but that option is possible. You can run a JMeter script using LoadRunner as well.
Yeah, I mean, Kaushik, the recording, the scripts, whatever you currently did in Vusion, we can
Mhm.
record in JMeter and upload into LoadRunner and run with the users, right?
Yeah, we can just run it. I mean, you can't convert a JMeter script to a LoadRunner script, but you can actually run it.
You can
Yeah,
upload into LoadRunner and then run it. Is that
yeah,
that
that's what
that,
I mean
that
to say.
that's
Yeah,
okay?
that's
Okay,
what I
that's
mean to
what
say.
I was
So what I mean
asking.
to say is, like a JMeter script cannot be converted like this right away. But
Yes, yes, yes.
whatever the JMX script you have, you can upload it and run it from controller. I can show you that option. I have to see the recent version of it. So where
Okay,
that option is currently recently. If that option is there, I can upload and run it. No problem.
okay, okay, Kaushik. Thanks.
And one more thing, like this